Hello again, welcome to another video. Please make sure that you subscribe. In today's video, I'm visiting an old football ground that's about to be knocked down and rebuilt. So I thought it was only right that I come and visit the old lady before it's gone. That's right everyone, I'm in West Cumbria and I'm at Borough Park, home to Workington AFC. But before I talk about the stadium, I want to go and show you something else that's a little bit sad. Okay then, there's the football ground there. Forgive the traffic noise. Anyway, a little sad story. Just up here from the football ground is the River Derwent and the Northside Bridge. Now in 2009, on the 20th of November, the 24 hours before, there was over 12 inches of rainfall recorded in Cumbria. And all that rainfall came down from the Lake District, down the river here, and ended up causing a massive load of flooding in the area. So much so that some bridges, including the original Northside Bridge here, were swept away. Tragically, at the time, there was a police constable, Bill Barker, standing on top of the bridge to stop the traffic when the bridge tragically collapsed. And so this bridge is a newer bridge that was put up afterwards. So that's a sad story of Workington, and you know, memories to Bill Barker and anyone else affected. What is it now, 16 years ago. In fact, here's the plaque commemorating the reopening of the bridge by the Princess Royal on 22nd of October 2012, replacing the bridge lost in the 2009 floods. Anyway, back to football. In front of you, you can see Borough Park, the home of Workington Reds, and it's a bit of an iconic football ground, especially in non-league circles, because you can just see the history of it as you look at it. Anyway, soon a lot of this is going to be knocked down and replaced by a new purpose-built Cumberland sports village that's going to house, as well as Workington Reds, the Workington Town Rugby League Club, who play just over there at the moment, where those lights are behind the Tesco. Now it's March 2025 at the moment, and recent reports say that the knocking down of this main stand is going to begin as soon as May this year. The plan is to first knock down this old main stand here and then replace that initially with a new stand with new training, new changing rooms and other facilities and community facilities, function rooms, stuff like that. And that's meant to be ready by August 2026. Now the plan is to stay in situ during that rebuilding process, although the club are not quite sure at the moment how that's going to work out, and you know, where changing rooms are going to be, etc, etc. Now there is a door opened to the ground, so I may be able to get in a bit, but what I'm going to do first is just have a walk around the outside of the ground. So a bit about the ground and the team. The Workington FC were formed in 1921, and at the moment they play in the Northern Premier League, which is the 7th tier of English football. And the best FA Cup performance came in 1933-1934 when they got to the 4th round before losing to Preston North End. And they moved to this ground in 1937 after being forced out of their Lonsdale Park ground, which I think is adjacent to here. Oh, the good news is I've literally just spoken to someone who says they'll show me around the ground in the inside, but we'll go around the perimeter first. Anyway, some of you older viewers will remember that Workington were actually part of the Football League between 1951 and 1977, when they were elected out of the league and replaced by the original Wimbledon FC. Do you know what? After looking over here, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to walk around the ground. I'm going to go back around and have a look inside. So Workington were actually the penultimate team to be elected out of the Football League before automatic promotion and relegation came in 1987. So in the sort of 9 years in between 78 and 87, no teams were elected out of the league. Now Currently this ground has a capacity of 3,100 with about 500 seated, but the record attendance here was 21,000 on 4th of January 1958 for an FA Cup match against Man United, and the largest league attendance was 18,628 for the local derby against Carlisle on Boxing Day 1963. And now we're going to be shown around the ground. So just walk through the main entrance here. You've got these pictures of teams gone by, main office there, and the welcome to Borough Park. This old ground from 1921. Maybe have a little closer look in here in a bit. I'll walk through here. It's good to see all the signage everywhere. Really like the badge. And this is the players and officials area on. You can see how old the stand was. Well, this is a remnant from when the old stand was here, wasn't it? This is still the same bit that was underneath.
This is the same bottom there.
Yeah.
That's the weight change room.
Weight changing room through here. Won't be a sec. Toilet. Old style bath. It's great to see the old style baths, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
I can remember. Bet John Burridge was, no, he'll be next door, won't he, John Burridge, when he was here?
No, this used to be the home change.
Oh, right, so I can imagine John Burridge.
Oh, Budgie.
Budgie.
He's got a school Budgie.
Hey?
He's got a school Budgie.
Oh, right.
And this would be the full bath.
Right.
All this is organised.
Yeah. Well, you got like shower heads in there now.
No,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is like going down some old tunnel somewhere. It'll be a shame when it's gone, really, even though we all like modern. It's the, what's this place here then?
This is the old boot room.
This is the old boot room?
Where, in the league days.
In the league days, yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, there used to be walking, and Bill Shankly used to sit in here.
Anyway, so yeah, Bill Shankly would have sat in here before he went to Liverpool, because he was manager here for a short while before that.
Yeah.
This is where he used to like, clean all the boots and...
He used to, aye.
Yeah. Beauty. So you can imagine when this gets knocked down soon, this old bit of history will be gone. So I'm keeping it for posterity. So we've got the officials room, the match referee and assistants, shower, toilet, very rudimentary. And up here at the end of the corridor we've got the current home dressing room. You can see why I call Workington Reds, with the red kit all beautifully hung up. Next home game on the weekend, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, Blythe.
Aye.
Aye. Should win that.
Oh, you never know that. That's the physio room in there.
Got the home shower here with the shower gel still there, just like a hotel. And the physio room in here. So although the current away dressing room used to be the home dressing room, when Manchester United played here in 1958, remember I told you about the record crowd, this is where they would have changed at that time. I think someone's going to tell me a bit more about that match in a minute, so you're in for a treat. Alright, so the players would come out the tunnel here, onto the pitch, just here, and here we are in Borough Park. I'll give you a quick panorama before we have a little closer look. Oh, I love this ground. So this area here, you can see the terracing here, this is the old terracing, but where this red roof is here, this slanting pitching roof, this is where the old stand used to be, and you basically used to have a roof going over that area, but that had to come down after 1985, after the Bradford fire, because it was basically condemned. So there used to be a main stand there, we might see a picture of it later, and then that stand continued round the end there, where that old stand still is. So So when you look at that stand there, it's like kind of a shed at the back, isn't it, with the corrugated steel. There used to be an equivalent at that end behind that terrace as well. So I'm just going to have a proper walk around the ground by myself. What a treat. Toilets in there. Honestly, you're seeing history here. You don't see many grounds like this anymore. A lot of them have been knocked down, and most of this one will be soon as well. So yeah, this all used to be a proper stand with seating, basically where that red slanting roof is there. Can you imagine standing here in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s? Takes me back to standing on the terrace when I was younger. Even at grounds like Borough Park, where, you know, you had not too dissimilar a roof on the top of it with the terracing. And here I think you can see the base of the old floodlight pylon. Like most grounds, Borough Park had 4 corner floodlight pylons. I think this is the base of it, and it basically, the poles went through the roof and the floodlights went up from there. I asked a little question the other day on social media about which was people's favourite non-league ground in Cumbria, and so many people had a lot of love for this ground. You can see why. For nostalgic, history-loving people, it's a great place. Once upon a time, thousands and thousands of people would walk up here into the back of the terrace to see the heroes. This looks like a club manifesto. I won't read it, you can pause and read it yourself. Hopefully you can imagine the stand going all the way around there. Now originally I think this stand was just the terrace, and then the seats were put in relatively recently, and the roof relatively recently as well. I'm not sure, 80s or 90s maybe. And there will have been a time when health and safety wasn't so much of an issue, when people would likely to have stood on these grass banks at the back here as well. Obviously this fence is here now to make sure people don't do that, or to encourage them not to anyway. Toilets and snack bar at the back. To give you an idea of the attendances here, for a kind of standard Saturday match, I'd say Workington are getting about 600 to 800 people through. Sometimes it can be higher for a bigger game, sometimes a little bit lower for a midweek game in November or December. I think as Workington compete at a reasonably high level, they have the same problem as other Cumbrian clubs with attracting players who are good enough for that level. Maybe I'll ask about that in a minute. So as I was being told earlier on, years ago there would have been a covered shelter behind this terrace, I assume on the bank at the back there. And over here you can see where it's an old turnstile block. Those steps up there are blocked off at the moment. And again you can see with the brickwork at the end there, that's where the old stand used to be. And there used to be a roof on top of that. It's always nice to visit these grounds on a kind of cold grey day like this, so you get a true sense of what it's like to watch football here and play football here for most of the year. Sometimes if you come in summer and it's really sunny, you can get a wrong idea of what the kind of ambience is like. Believe me, it's windy today. So the only seats on this side of the ground now are basically the director's box. As you can see, away directors and media only in this area. So this whole area will be coming down in a few months' time, apparently, and replaced by a completely new stand. And there you've got your home director's box just over there. So I'm just going to walk into the boardroom in a second, but we're going to have a look at a few facts and figures as we go in. I won't go through them all, but I'll pan down and you can pause if you'd like to. This is the whole history of Workington AFC. So you can see there the original Workington Football Club was formed in 1884. As I mentioned earlier, it was reformed in 1921. I'll just pan down there. As you can see, there's a picture of the old stand that I've been talking about quite a lot. So you can see it was sort of that white wall and then the seating behind, and you still got a bit of terracing at the front. You can see how the remaining stand curved round there, and as I mentioned, you might be able to make out the floodlight pylon actually came through the roof, and the remnants we just saw underneath the stand. And a few more things up here. So just a question I wanted to ask about the current club. I was wondering, do you have the same issues that the other Cumbrian teams do with getting good enough players to the area? So like, I've just been down to Borough, and of course they train right over in Manchester because that's where they get the players from, etc. Do you have any problem like that up here?
A big problem from the league, getting people to come.
Yeah.
To come over if it's out. We're out on the limb here, aren't we?
So how many of your, say, current first team or squad actually are local, or say within 20 miles? Just rough. I mean, is it a few or?
Say 7 or 8, yeah.
7 or 8. And where do the others come up from?
There's some from Borough.
Some come up from Borough, yeah.
Preston, I think.
Yeah, so sort of North Lancashire.
Yeah.
So do they just come up to train like once or twice a week?
They train at Penrith twice a week.
Ah, so there we go. So they train at Penrith because that's a lot easier, isn't it? It's right next to the motorway.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So they train at Penrith Tuesday to Thursday, so they don't have to make the long trip over the A66.
Yeah.
So this is a picture from 2 years ago when Workington got promoted back into this league via the playoffs. And they just got relegated, hadn't you? Just the year before, was it?
Couple of years
before.
COVID done us, yeah.
Yeah, it did a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. But you've also been in National League North, haven't you? Like,
yes,
yeah,
few
relatively
years,
recently.
yeah.
Yeah. How many were at this match? What was the crowd?
About nearly 3,000, I think.
Nearly 3,000 here.
Nearly a full house, yeah.
Definitely a full house. Just a few names. From here, this was the manager at the time, Danny Granger, who's now at Morecambe, but he was a seasoned professional in Scotland and at Carlisle. This guy over here, Terry Mitchell, he's the assistant doing a grand job at Darlington at the moment, a team that I follow closely. And this is the gentleman who's showing me around at the moment. So we're just going to go down here. We've got the manager's office there. And this is the Shankly bar. As I said earlier on, Bill Shankly, before he became a legend at Liverpool, was here for a little bit, so this bar commemorates him. As you can see, if we go over here, we've got some big pictures of the legend here. This is him when he was at Workington. See the stand in the background there. And this is a picture of Bill Shankly with the old groundsman, Billy Watson. Workington were known for having the best playing surface in the league then. This is obviously in the Football League days, pre-1978. Yeah, and Bill Shankly actually came down to open this place in 1980, the place named after him. And that's what he said at the time. Some people forget what a man has done, but Workington didn't forget. This is when he opened the lounge. And now we're going to look into the boardroom. Here's some more old pictures of Bill Shankly as we go through. This is the boardroom.
Proper old-fashioned boardroom, this.
Old-fashioned wood-panelled boardroom. You just imagine the old chairman with his cigar, can't you? At many grounds like this throughout the country. So here's a portrait again of the old stand that we're talking about, with the John Peel Ale sponsors on the back. The old stand would have, that's still there, would be that one there. Again, the old style floodlight pylon. And you can see there that there was the similar stand that went round the back of the other end that we were talking about. And all the fans in the main stand with their hats on. Here we have a picture of the original Workington Football Club, I think in 1906. And another one from 1913-14. And we've got you know, various little trophies and things presented by different clubs, etc. Player of the Year things, stuff like that. Here's a picture of Workington in 1966. This is actually in front of the main stand at Feetham's, the old Darlington ground. So yeah, again, it's just really worth seeing this for the old style boardroom. Is this going to go when it gets knocked down there?
It's all coming down.
So this won't be here for very long if the plans go ahead as planned. So you've seen a bit of history. Right, so now leaving the inside of the stand, and we're going to speak to an old gentleman who was at that 1958 Man United game. So what a treat. So I'm just going to go down here to where the bar and shop is. Here we go, the Tony Hopper bar. Who was Tony Hopper, Phil?
He used to play for us as a young lad, and he died with the Rosemary disease, eh?
Right.
So he used to play for Carlisle for us, eh?
So Tony was a young player who died very young, who played for Workington, so we're commemorating him. And here's the bar with the Tony Hopper shirt there. So up here you've got all the Player of the Year names on there, well, up until 2018 anyway. And we've got that famous Bill Shankly statement here. Some people believe football is a matter of life and death. I can assure you it's much, much more important than that. And we're maybe going to talk to a couple of people down here. This is basically the club shop, so these are the kids shirts there, home shirt, away shirt, other memorabilia. Well, as often happens, I've ended up spending about 2 hours in the clubhouse there talking to a load of people who've been watching the club for 40, 50, in one case 70 odd, 80 odd years. The old gentleman Gordon, who's like 90-year-old, he was there at the Man United game. He met Bill Shankly, etc. Great old fella. I hope he's watching this. Hello Gordon, if you end up watching this. Okay then, that's it for this video. I've had a great time here at Workington. You couldn't meet a more friendlier group. Heard lots of great stories, lots of stuff about the ground. There's a few bits of information I've got a little bit factually wrong, but you know, it's nothing between friends. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. I've said goodbye to Borough Park. I hope this video stands as a good memory to the old stand and the old ground.